Have you ever heard of a gorilla that could drive a car, make jokes, knew over 1,000 words, and even took care of a pet cat? What if I told you that this gorilla had fascinating things to say about death, and even had an answer about what happens after it? But beyond all that, before he passed away, he had a message that he passed on to the whole world in sign language that you will be amazed and shiver when you hear it. On July 4th, 1970, a gorilla born at the San Francisco Zoo was very different from all other gorillas, and indeed from all animals. This gorilla was a being that resembled humans not only physically but also mentally and emotionally. Coco could communicate with humans through sign language, express her emotional world and express her feelings clearly. She could easily express all kinds of feelings, from anger to love, from sadness to joy, and could express herself with a human-like consciousness. Coco also had some strange, and some might say strange, obsessions. For example, her nipple obsession. Coco, who saw herself as a queen, was a gorilla who could make jokes, drive a car, and even create new words. She had many pets and had strong bonds with these pets. She also used thought-provoking expressions about death. She had one of the highest IQs among animals. In tests, it was determined that her IQ was between 70 and 90. According to the data, the average IQ is around 90, while Japan is known to have the highest average IQ at 106. As a gorilla, Coco, her IQ was between 70 and 90. Before she died, Coco left a chilling message to the world as if she had a deep knowledge of human history. Before we go on, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for more stories like this. Coco was born on July 4th in a zoo in California. Her childhood was far from the typical life of other gorillas. It was a challenging journey. In her early months, Coco suffered from a life-threatening illness and was the 50th captive gorilla born in the zoo. Due to her illness, she spent her infancy without her mother. A caretaker was assigned to look after her until her treatment was completed. When Coco was finally reunited with her mother rejected her, refusing to treat her as her own offspring. This left Coco abandoned and alone in a massive cage filled with unfamiliar gorillas. But one day, a young female student wanted to take Coco under her wing. Penny was a psychology student and was going to be Coco's caretaker and tutor. She wanted to teach Coco as part of her doctoral research. She first started working on teaching her sign language. She administered various intelligence tests, but Coco passed them surprisingly easily. The fact that she learned sign language so quickly showed how high her mental capacity was. Coco had an extensive vocabulary of 3,000 words.
Coco, look. There are stars. Can you find the eyes in this picture? Right, those are the eyes.
She could express 1,000 words in sign language and understand an additional 2,000. In other words, she could understand abstract concepts like a human child and could comprehend abstract terms such as good, bad, fake, and real correctly, as well as nouns, verbs, and adjectives. The first word she learned was queen, because Coco saw herself as a queen. When she referred to herself, she used the word queen instead of her name. Coco could not only learn what she had been taught, but she could also make up new words for herself. For example, no one had ever taught her the meaning of the word ring before, but she combined the words finger and bracelet to create the term finger bracelet for herself. Coco had a remarkable sense of humor. She constantly played both verbal and physical pranks on people. Once she pulled Penny's hair and then signed sorry while laughing. She was like a mischievous human child. Her ability to joke showed that she possessed theory of mind, the understanding that others have thoughts, emotions, and perspectives different from one's own. That's what Coco was like. This is an example of a verbal joke Coco made to Penny.
Me, gorilla! I'm a gorilla! I'll tell you, you want to know who I am? Penny is a human.
Theory of mind is the ability of a person to understand the emotions, intentions, beliefs, and mental states of others, which is generally true for humans. This can be defined as empathy. Coco also had this ability and was able to make her humor thanks to it. This was a unique human ability, and Coco was indeed much more than a monkey. Coco could even drive a car. These abilities showed her extraordinary intelligence and human-like characteristics. Coco, besides her features, also had a strange obsession. She had a fascination with nipples. Whether male or female, Coco wanted to see people's nipples and sometimes touch them. In 2005, 3 female servants who were assigned to care for and educate Coco filed a lawsuit claiming that they were forced to fulfill her request. Coco requested this request from them using sign language. Gorilla experts stated that other gorillas did not have a nipple obsession like Coco. The most exciting moments in Coco's life are now starting. Initially known only by Penny and her small circle, Coco suddenly became known by millions of people. Coco's mirror selfie is still world famous today. National, she was on the cover of Geographic magazine. That day, Coco became famous worldwide. Famous names, many celebrities like Leonardo DiCaprio went to her house just to meet Coco. The famous comedian Robin Williams also met Coco, and they formed a close bond. Coco's concept of friendship, however, was quite unique. By the age of 19, she had accomplished something that most other gorillas couldn't. She passed a test of self-recognition. Normally, if a gorilla sees itself in a mirror, it doesn't realize it's looking at its own reflection. Instead, it perceives the image as another gorilla. But Coco immediately recognized herself and was often seen examining her reflection. This was a crucial sign of her extraordinary self-awareness. Coco had a truly astonishing self-awareness, which was quite rare for an ape. Coco loved watching movies, and her favorite movie was an Italian production called Tea with Mussolini. Every time she watched the saddest scene in the movie, the scene where the child character says goodbye to his family, Coco would turn away so as not to be upset. This was another example of how deep Coco's emotional world was, and how capable she was of empathy. Coco was so impressed by the movie Jurassic Park about dinosaurs that she even started to approach her own dinosaur toys with fear. This once again revealed the depth of Coco's emotional intelligence and how she perceived the world around her. One Christmas night, Coco told Penny she wanted a kitten. Initially, Penny was concerned that Coco might accidentally harm the kitten, so she gave her a plush toy monkey instead. But Coco immediately realized it wasn't a real kitten. She threw it aside and, using sign language, expressed sadness while insisting on a real cat. Eventually, Coco was allowed to choose a kitten from a litter of abandoned ones. She picked the smallest one and named it All Ball because she thought it looked like a tiny ball. Coco treated All Ball as if it were her own baby. She even attempted to nurse it. Despite her massive size, Coco was incredibly gentle with All Ball, always careful not to hurt it. She adored All Ball and formed an intense emotional bond. But one day, tragedy struck. All Ball was hit by a car and killed. When Coco was told about the accident, she reacted with deep sorrow. She made signs indicating sadness, furrowed her brows, and used words like sad and bad to express her grief.
Coco, All Ball was hit by a car.
I went in right away and I said, Coco, something's happened to your kitty and he won't be here anymore. You know, the cat has died.
Following All Ball's death, Penny noticed that Coco emitted sounds similar to human crying for several days. She was mourning the loss of a beloved companion. A photograph of Coco with All Ball was later featured on the cover of National Geographic once again. After All Ball's passing, Coco had several more cats. Inspired by Coco's love for kittens, Penny wrote a book called Coco's Kitten. One day, one of Coco's caretakers showed her a skeleton and asked, "Is this alive or dead?" Coco signed, "Dead." The caretaker then asked, "Where do dead gorillas go?" Coco calmly signed, "A comfortable hole." After signing this, Coco blew a farewell kiss. Just a few days later, on a morning in June 2018, Coco passed away in her sleep at the age of 46. And now here is the chilling message Coco left for all of humanity before she died. Please don't forget to like the video, share it with your loved ones, and subscribe to the channel.